Welcome to Le Castellet as we return from across the Atlantic for the 2019 French Grand Prix. Reintroduced to the Formula One calendar just last year after an absence of almost 3 decades. The circuit Paul Ricard, where racing legends such as Alain Prost gave us some Turn 1 excitement before Valtteri Bottas and Sebastian Vettel and a commanding victory from Lewis Hamilton gave us a brilliant race last year. What, I wonder, will it have in store for us this season? We have 15 corners here at the circuit Paul Ricard, 6 to the left and 9 to the right. The rain is coming down and making for a slippery racing surface, but luckily there is plenty of runoff available, and hopefully we'll be able to avoid bringing out a safety car during today's Grand Prix. It's not going to be plain sailing for our drivers today, although with the sky falling as it is, perhaps sailing isn't too far from the truth. And Anthony Davidson, could be a wet one today. Great to have you with us. What are your thoughts?
It is a touch damp, isn't it? Well, as a driver, there are 3 big things to worry about when racing in these kind of conditions: standing water, tyre temperature and visibility. Judging distance to the cars around you is really tricky when you're driving through the vast amounts of spray that these wet weather Pirelli tyres kick up.
Let's run you through the driver grid order for today's exciting race. Mir lines up on pole position, and starting alongside is Lucas Faber. As we continue through the rest of the grid today, we have Gasly, Perez, George Russell and Butler, Hülkenberg, Sainz, Raikkonen and Charles Leclerc, Stroll, Verstappen, they've taken a grid penalty, Sebastian Vettel and Magnussen, Ricciardo, Bottas, Lewis Hamilton and Alexander Albon, Grosjean and Antonio Giovinazzi starts from the back of the grid. And with preparations almost complete, let's head down to the track.
Okay, the run into turn 1 isn't too long, so the pack will be bunched up. Start, but don't overreact. We can salvage this. brighten up soon. We're seeing light rain in around 2 minutes. Inters and wets will probably have similar pace at the moment. We're adjusting this. You're doing well out there, keep it up. We're looking at about 10 more minutes of rain. 10 minutes. Take it easy on the car. We can't sustain this level of damage. teammate behind is 7.3 seconds. Okay, the weather's certainly eased off for the time being, but we've still got a lot of standing water out there. We're happy for you to stay out on the inters for now. Okay, clear.
Max is in P10 at the moment. The gap is 22.7 seconds. They're on fresh inters. The time last lap was a 1:52.8.
set a new fastest lap for the race. We're leading our teammate by 22.7 seconds. They're on fresh inters. They're in 5th. The time last lap was a 1 minute 54.2. We have 5 laps of fuel remaining. The tyre situation is an interesting one, but I think the right call is to stick with what we've got right now. There's 5 laps of fuel remaining. Gap to teammate behind is 29.1 seconds. Looks like we'll be running on a dry track soon. Back to dry shortly. Okay, the boots aren't looking too warm at this point. We should have plenty of life left in them. Let's make sure we keep managing them properly. laps of fuel remaining. Okay, you're creating some breathing space between you and the car behind by a few seconds per lap. Be careful with the front wing, you've taken some minor damage. Going off the sim data, we expect you're going to start feeling the effect of tyre wear around about now. Let us know if it gets too bad. Your brakes are at a good operating temperature. Risk with the circuit this greasy, but we think the slick might now be the quicker tyre. If you think you can keep it on the road, let's consider swapping over. We have 2 laps of fuel remaining. Okay, the stewards have now enabled DRS. DRS is now online. This is your final lap of the race. We did it. Good job.
So, another excellent win from Ferrari. Anthony Davidson, how do you think they were able to set themselves apart today?
Well, I honestly feel it was down to the driver and car today. I mean, we can talk driver skill all day, but if you don't have a solid team to back that, you're never going to get anywhere. When you hit that sweet spot of having both an excellent driver and an incredible car, that's when you see results like those we witnessed today.
Ferrari are at it again, an excellent performance at today's Grand Prix, and they're certainly a team that know what they're doing out there. And after this round of the World Championship, here's how things look in the drivers' table. Mir increases their championship lead. Now, let's discuss, Ants. Who would you say is a contender for driver of the day?
Max Verstappen seemed to just effortlessly weave through the other drivers today without a care in the world. He was definitely my driver of choice.
It's time to check out the constructors' standings. Ferrari continued to extend the gap at the top of the table. Meanwhile, a strong weekend from Red Bull this time out, and they improved their position in the championship. Well, that was certainly an incredible weekend of racing. Be sure to join myself and Ant for more exciting Formula One action.
Good day today. Let's have your take on it.
Your team must be ecstatic with how you're performing.
There was quite a lot of contact today, wasn't there? Judging from today's race, it must be pretty hard to fend off Devon when he wants to pass. You and your old F2 rival didn't hold back with the champagne up on the podium today. Great. Well, that's everything.
Excellent result today. Finishes like that will look good on your contract reviews. On to the next one. We're asking for too much here. We need to make some compromises. Okay, that proposal looks good. It seems all parties are happy with the deal, so it'll commence at the next race weekend.
Thank you for joining us once again for today's qualifying session. Sit back, relax, and enjoy what we hope will be a fantastic contest for pole position. So, could be a tasty one today then, Ants. We've got all the ingredients, that's for sure. Treacherous conditions, an ever-changing racetrack, and one or two cars just behind the pace setters who maybe, just maybe, fancy a bit of an upset after a good performance from them in free practice.
And the question has to be, of course, what is that circuit going to look like in 10 to 15 minutes from now? If you think the rain's going to get worse, then you have to be straight out when the lights go green to find whatever grip you can. But if it eases off, then you're better off waiting, saving the tyres, and going out at the perfect moment. The other thing that comes with these conditions? Traffic, and the lack of visibility that comes from sitting in the spray. It's going to be a constant problem, and I expect to see a lot of frustrated drivers with ruined laps out there today.
That's further back than we'd like, but don't worry about it. Just means more fun for us tomorrow.
With qualifying finished, it's time to remind ourselves of our top three. Verstappen, Butler and Sergio Perez. Goodbye for now then, but we're really just getting started. Make sure to join us again.
Tough luck there. It's not quite where we'd want to be on the grid, but chin up, it's not the end of the world.
What a beautiful backdrop to a motor race. We're here in the Styrian Mountains, of course, and they've watched over some cracking races throughout the history of this Grand Prix. Controversy, of course, think back to 2002, but also great joy. Do you remember Niki Lauda's historic home victory in 1984? The Spielberg circuit then is situated 700 metres above sea level, with just 10 corners making up one of the shortest laps of the season. One time around here is a distance of 2.6 miles, with the best overtaking chances into turn 1 or the tight uphill turn 3. Anthony Davidson, thanks for joining me once again for the Grand Prix. Let's talk about Mir. What do you make of their performance so far this season?
They've been avoiding mistakes and have had solid pace, so it's been a good season so far, but whether they can keep that up long term remains to be seen.
With the race minutes away from starting, here's what today's grid rundown looks like. Max Verstappen put in a fantastic lap yesterday, and he starts from pole position. And Devon Butler lines up alongside. Considering the rest of the grid, we have Perez, Leclerc, Lucas Faber, and Gasly, Sainz, Hamilton, Mir, and Valtteri Bottas, Hülkenberg, Magnussen, George Russell and Albon, Vettel, Ricciardo, Kimi Raikkonen and Lance Stroll, Giovinazzi and Romain Grosjean sits at the back of the grid. And now it's time to head down to the track.
You should have some space going into the first corner, so try to keep it tidy. Cede that position or receive a penalty. Let's focus now for the rest of the race. Green flag. Some information on Butler. They've got a serious car issue. It looks like they're retiring. Race officials have enabled DRS. DRS is now available. Max is in first position. P1, the gap is 0.7 seconds. They're on fresh softs. We think they've got one more stop. The time last lap was a 1:11.7. Box, we're adjusting the strategy. Come in this lap. Green flag. Box for a new one. Understood, stopping this lap. Times are falling off. We want you to pit in for repairs. Box, box, box. Go now. That was our last stop. No more scheduled pit stops. 14.5 seconds. Good job. That was the fastest lap of the race so far. That was the fastest lap of the race. Keep this up. We pretty much burned off our excess fuel. We'll be back on target soon. Don't wait too long to turn the engine down. Sergio is in for his stop. Okay, you need to give that position back. That was an illegal overtake. Okay, you're in the top 10. Max is in first position. P1, the difference is 11.6 seconds. They're on fresh mediums. Gap to car in front is 5.2 seconds. laps of fuel remaining. Fuel target is +1. Faster engine modes are available. There's 3 laps of fuel remaining. Is gaining on you by 0.5 a lap. This is your final lap of the race. There's only 1 lap of fuel remaining. Thank you for all your hard work out there. That was a strong drive and a good finish. Well done.
So, another fantastic victory for Red Bull today. Anthony Davidson, what helped them deliver this result, do you think?
Well, I know it's a bit of a boring answer, but the truth is they simply had the best speed package on the day, and a driver who knows how to take advantage of that. It doesn't matter how much time you spend poring over the stats and planning strategies if you can't keep the pace, and our winner today showed they could do both.
Red Bull are our winners today after showcasing some incredible driving. There's been a huge push from them lately to stay competitive with the other teams, and they're certainly proving themselves. And now let's take a look at the driver's standings. Despite the best efforts of our championship leader, that lead has taken a bit of a knock today. So, Anthony Davidson, who would you rank as your driver of the day?
Well, Lance Stroll would be my pick. He managed to keep a cool head today whilst pushing through the field.
Let's move on to the constructors. Ferrari continued to extend the gap at the top of the table. Meanwhile, Toro Rosso's strong weekend allows them to continue their march up the table. And with that, we wrap up another weekend of motorsport. But with more races lined up, be sure to join us when we come back with more Formula One.
Amazing performance out there. I'm sure you're pretty happy with that. You gained a lot of positions during the race, didn't you? It wasn't the cleanest race today, was it? Is not being able to finish a race like Lucas did today a hard thing for a driver to deal with? Devon got a DNF result today. That's got to be tough to come back from. Great. Well, that's everything.
Great work this weekend. It was fantastic to see you up on that podium.
Here we are then, waiting for the green light to get qualifying underway for the British Grand Prix. And I'm here, of course, with Anthony Davidson on what has turned out to be a very pleasant day indeed. No weather to interfere, no problems on the track, so absolutely no room for error.
That's right, Crofty. It's looking good out there at the moment. Each team will have their own game plan for this session, and of course, once the cars leave the garage, they'll be under parc fermé conditions, so any last-minute adjustments need to be done right here and now. Beyond that, it's all up to the driver. Who can keep their tyres in the right temperature? Who can hit their apexes? No race fuel on board these days, of course. These are the fastest cars we've had in a long, long time, and it's right here in qualifying where they're at their absolute peak. Let's get started.
Sorry about that. Just wasn't our day.
We're all ready for tomorrow's race, but before we begin, let's have a quick look at those who will be fronting the grid. Verstappen, Perez and Devon Butler. With qualifying complete,
Obviously, I expected a better session, but these things happen from time to time. Try to make up for it in the race.
the pain of parting is nothing to the joy of meeting again. And how joyous indeed it is to be back at Silverstone once more for the British Grand Prix. The queues to get in this morning extended miles back down the A43, such as the enthusiasm for Formula One in this country. The 3.6-mile long Silverstone circuit is one of the longest of the season, with 18 corners in the current layout. With average lap speeds reaching around 145 miles per hour, it's also one of the quickest tracks of the year. Watch out for cars taking the right-handers of Abbey and Copse flat out. Anthony Davidson also joins me in the commentary box today. Let's talk about Mia. That was a great podium in the last race, so can they keep that momentum going this weekend?
It's always nice to come into a Grand Prix weekend on a high, but your expectations are based much more on your practice and qualifying runs, so it's the momentum from those sessions that they'll be hoping to carry into the race today.
Off the back of a fantastic qualifying session, it's time to see how our starting grid looks for today's race. Young superstar Max Verstappen starts from pole position, edging out Sergio Perez, who lines up P2. Looking down the rest of the grid, we have Butler, Mir, George Russell and Hamilton, Leclerc, Bottas, Ricciardo and Kimi Raikkonen, Gasly, Hülkenberg, Alexander Albon and Stroll. Sainz, Weber, they'll be starting further back after an earlier grid penalty. Kevin Magnussen and Sebastian Vettel, Giovinazzi and Romain Grosjean sits at the back of the grid. And with lights out just moments away, it's time to go down to the track.
Right, let's be patient going into turn 1. We want to be in a good position for the rest of the race. Good luck. Recommend you box for a new one. A new strategy is available on the MFT. Check your MFD for a new strategy option. Understood, copy that. Go, go. Okay, some information on Magnussen. They have some kind of mechanical problem. yellow flag. Be aware, there's an incident in the next part of the track. No overtaking through the yellow flags. Okay, the incident has been cleared. Let's get back up to racing speed. Okay, entering lap 3 now. DRS has been enabled. That's a new fastest lap for the race. You're putting a good distance between yourself and the car behind. Nice work, that brings you up a place. We advise moving to mix 2. Fuel to mix 2. We're trailing our teammate by 25.5 seconds. been penalised. Green flag. The gap to the car ahead is 2.6 seconds. Whatever the problem was, they're coming back up to speed. Sergio is in the pits. Our gap to the car in front is 1.8 seconds. There's 5 laps of fuel remaining. There is a fault to the DRS. You won't be able to open the rear wing. We're working on a fix. Stay out. We're leading our teammate by 6.9 seconds. There's 3 laps of fuel remaining. We're starting to catch the car in front, but we need to look after the tyres. We won't be making another pit stop. Gap ahead is 3.1 seconds. Plus 1 lap of extra fuel. Fuel target plus 1. We've only got 2 laps of fuel left. This is your final lap of the race. friend. Top job. I was a bit worried about this one at the start of the weekend, but you pulled through. Thank you.
Brilliant stuff from Red Bull today. What a superb victory. Anthony Davidson, how do you think they were able to set themselves apart today?
Well, they certainly stood out as a driver with tons of confidence on the track. I think their ability to keep their cool, even during some of the more hectic parts of the race, meant they were able to capitalise on the mistakes of other drivers, giving them the opportunity to make their way to the top spot with ease.
Here come today's winners. The team at Red Bull have done a phenomenal job recently. It's clear to see that they've put in the work and they should be proud of the victory they secured here. So then, it's time to see how this result affects the Drivers' Championship. Our championship leader is still sat at the top of the standings, but their rivals have made up some solid ground today. After an incredible day of racing, who was your driver of the day, Ant?
Kimi Räikkönen is my standout today. Nothing you could construe as showboating, just an incredibly consistent performance out on track.
It's time to see how things are shaping up in the Constructors' Championship. Ferrari continued to extend the gap at the top of the table. I'm equal parts exhausted and elated with this weekend of Formula One. Be sure to join us for the next one.
Good day today. Let's have your take on it.
Do you have any comments about the collisions?
So talk us through what happened between you and your rival today. Appreciate your time.
Fantastic podium. Well done. Keep pushing like this for the rest of the season.
Welcome back to qualifying, where we're waiting for the lights to turn green in the pit lane to signify the start of the session here at the Hockenheim Ring for this weekend's German Grand Prix. Drivers tend to complain about tyre wear around this track, and the compounds on offer this weekend aren't likely to put that issue to bed. Is this going to be about who can make the tyres last?
Tyre wear is always something you have to consider to a certain degree. Finding a good car balance that suits the circuit will help prolong the life of the tyre, but it's true that some circuits, such as this one, are more challenging than others. How hard you can push them depends on your strategy and how tight the battle is around you.
Excellent lap. We're really pleased.
And with qualifying complete, let's review our top three today. Mir, Perez and Max Verstappen. Well, that wraps up qualifying, but don't worry, we'll be back tomorrow with
Well done. That was a good qualifying performance.
There's nowhere at all I'd rather be today than here at Hockenheim for the German Grand Prix. We have an incredibly competitive field this year, which means we should be in for a treat. And judging by the sea of people filling the grandstands, there's a fair-sized chunk of Germany that agrees with me. It's 2.8 miles around the Hockenheim Ring then, and some fairly wet conditions to overcome on this 17-corner circuit. The long, curved back straight leads into a tight hairpin for the best overtaking opportunity. But expect to see the cars running wide, as braking offline could prove very difficult indeed. And it's an absolute pleasure to be joined once again by Anthony Davidson. Let's talk about Mir. The last few races have been a bit rough for them, unable to get a clean run. That's got to have some effect on their confidence, surely.
It's not an ideal situation by any means. When you get into a bad run like that, there's always a risk of frustration creeping in, which can cause more mistakes and locks you into this vicious cycle. Hopefully today they can get through turn 1 cleanly and stay calm for the rest of the race.
Before we begin, let's take a quick look at the grid lineup for today's race. Mir lines up on pole position. Sergio Perez lines up alongside. Moving on to the rest of the grid, we have Verstappen, Weber, Pierre Gasly, and Butler, Russell, Vettel, Ricciardo, and Lewis Hamilton, Bottas, Magnussen, Charles Leclerc, and Hülkenberg, Sainz, Albon, Lance Stroll, and Antonio Giovinazzi. Raikkonen and Romain Grosjean sits at the back of the grid, and with lights out just moments away, it's time to go down to the track.
Okay, the run into turn 1 isn't too long, so the pack will be bunched up. Take care. That's a strong start. Well done. Your front wing is damaged. Expect a We should see heavy rainfall on track in about 10 minutes. Inters seem like the fastest tyre for now. rain arriving in under 10 minutes. To teammate behind is 6.8 seconds. Inters look like the best tyre for now. Look after these tyres now. We want to finish the race on this compound. Max is currently P2. The difference is 9.9 seconds. They're on fresh inters. The time last lap was a 1 minute 28.7. There's 12 laps of fuel remaining. Fuel is looking really good. You're managing it well. Pit strategy complete. See these tyres through to the end now. Reports are that heavy rain will be arriving on track within 5 minutes' time. Inters seem like the fastest tyre for now. leading our teammate by 13.7 seconds. Inters look like the best tyre for now. Inters seem like the fastest tyre for now. That was our last stop. No more scheduled pit stops. I think we're still on the right tyres for the time being. Look after these tyres now. We want to finish the race on this compound. This heavy rain will last another 10 minutes before we see it transition over to light rain. Inters look like the best tyre for now. Pit strategy complete. See these tyres through to the end now. See a transition to light rain in around 10 minutes' time. That was our last stop. No more scheduled pit stops. confirmed. Pit crew will ready wet tyres for your next stop. To teammate behind is 19.3 seconds. Cars are definitely kicking up a lot of spray at this point. I doubt we're quite ready for the full wet, but we're not far off. Look after these tyres now. We want to finish the race on this compound. It's borderline, but if I were you, I'd come in and change tyres. I'm just not sure we're on the right ones for the conditions anymore. Our gap behind is 14.9 seconds. There's 4 laps of fuel remaining. Fuel target is +1. Faster engine modes are available. Okay, we're not seeing any issues with tyre wear right now. You should have good grip for a while yet. We're expecting the rate to get better in around 5 minutes. Light rain in 5 minutes' time. The gap to the car behind is 16.9 seconds. Laps of fuel remaining. This is your final lap of the race. Worked hard for that one. Congratulations.
Great effort there from Ferrari to take the victory today. Tell me, Ant, how did they manage to achieve this win?
Rain always has the potential to liven up a race and mix up the order, and they've taken full advantage of that to claim the victory today. It's always a bit of a lottery when the conditions are like this, but they've managed to stay on circuit and have come out on top.
And here we are, a team that is no stranger to the podium, taking their place on top once again. A sublime race today and a stunning win for Ferrari. Let's see what effect this result has had on the drivers' standings. Mia increases their championship lead. Some amazing talent out on the track today. But Anthony, who would you pick as your driver of the day?
For me, it's Kimi Raikkonen, someone who definitely doesn't get enough attention for how well he performs out on the track.
It's time to check out the constructors' standings. Ferrari continue to extend the gap at the top of the table. It was also a strong Grand Prix from Haas F1 this weekend. Fantastic work from the American team to move themselves further up the table. Well, Ant, an end to another fantastic...
Great work out there today. Let's have your thoughts. You took the top points today. Was it a comfortable win? You performed better than last weekend. What changed? It's safe to say you're smashing everyone's expectations, isn't it? How did your team respond to the poor conditions today? Appreciate your time.
Just wanted to say congrats on the podium. It's thoroughly deserved. We were sweating those last few laps on the pit wall, but you brought it home.
Good afternoon, race fans, and here we are again for qualifying at the Hungaroring. Who will have tuned the perfect setup for their car? We'll find out soon. Now then, Anthony Davidson, you're not getting any younger, but you have been involved in your fair share of qualifying sessions in an illustrious 30-year career. How do you deal with the pressure when you have that one chance to deliver a perfect lap?
It's not so much about dealing with the pressure, it's more about how you approach the risk and just how much of it are you willing to take. You're constantly balancing the car on the edge of grip from braking, cornering and traction. And over the course of a lap, it's easy to get that balance wrong. And that's why achieving the perfect lap is almost impossible. As you say, I've been doing this 30 years now, and it never gets any easier.
Good job, mate. Really well done. That was a fantastic drive.
With qualifying finished, it's time to remind ourselves of our top three: Mir, Perez and Devon Butler. With qualifying wrapped up, we now have our grid lineup for the big race tomorrow. Be sure to join us then for what will no doubt be a fantastic race.
All right, I think we can call that a successful qualifying. We should be in with a good chance in the race.
It's always wonderful to come back to the lively Hungaro Ring. A popular destination this, nice and close to the beautiful city of Budapest, with some exciting racing to boot. Who can forget Michael Schumacher pushing his old teammate Rubens Barrichello up towards the pit wall in 2010, or those great races of 2014 and 2015 as well. We're northeast of Budapest for the race today at the 2.7-mile Hungaro Ring circuit. 14 corners here, 8 to the right and 6 to the left, on a track where downforce is king and passing is notoriously difficult. Alongside me once again for coverage of today's race, it's none other than the great Anthony Davidson. They've had to retire a couple of times in the last few races. What can you tell us about the reliability of their car?
I think they can be fairly pleased with that record so far. The first thing any good car needs is a solid, reliable base with which to build on, and they seem to have that this season.
It's time to take a look at our starting grid for today's race. Mir lines up on pole position, edging out Sergio Perez, who lines up P2. Looking at the rest of today's grid, we have Butler, Verstappen, Lucas Faber and Hamilton, Raikkonen, Russell, Ricciardo and Kevin Magnussen, Gasly, Vettel, Charles Leclerc and Hülkenberg, Stroll, Sainz, Valtteri Bottas and Antonio Giovinazzi. Albon and Romain Grosjean sits at the back of the grid. Now it's almost time to lights out, so let's go down to the track.
Top 4 finish is what the boss is expecting today. Engine off, engine off. Are you okay? That was a big one. Confirm you're okay, please. That move was... That looked bad. Are you alright? Let me know you're alright. You should have some space going into the first corner. information on Butler. They're retiring from the race. Okay, box, box, box. We're adjusting the strategy. Come in this lap. Go now. Pit strategy complete. See these tyres through to the end now. Showing small signs of wear, power output will be down. DRS is now enabled and will be available to use when you are within 1 second of the car ahead in the DRS zone. That was the fastest lap of the race. Keep this up. between you and the car behind is increasing by a significant amount each lap. Good job. Some information on Grosjean. They seem to have an issue. okay? Are you alright? Engine off, engine off. Sergio is in for his stop. Ricardo's leading the race. Gap to car in front is 1.6 seconds. Leading our teammate by 5.4 seconds. We're at +1 lap of extra fuel. Fuel target +1. have 5 laps of fuel remaining. Gap to teammate behind is 11.4 seconds. There's 3 laps of fuel remaining. Fastest lap of the race so far. There's only 1 lap of fuel remaining. Nice work, that's P1. Race win. Well done.
Ferrari have really pulled it out of the bag today. It's a great win. What do you think it was, Ant, that gave them the edge over the competition today?
I think that smart tyre management on track and very smooth driving definitely assisted in their victory today. That combination meant they got the absolute maximum out of their tyres at all times.
Here come our winners now. A thrilling race and a tremendous effort by Ferrari. Their history is well known, so it's no surprise to fans the world over to see them come out on top once again. Let's have a look then at the drivers' standings. Mia increases their championship lead. Let's focus on the driver of the day. Anthony Davidson, who do you pick?
But it's absolutely got to be Alexander Albon, no hesitation. He put in the performance today that's only going to build further upon his already growing reputation.
Let's move on to the constructors. Ferrari continue to extend the gap at the top of the table. Meanwhile, Renault move up the table with another strong performance this weekend. It's been an absolutely wild weekend of Formula One action. I can't wait to see what's next.
Great work out there today. Let's have your thoughts. You're surpassing all expectations. How do you think Devon will react to having not been able to finish today's race? You had a close battle today, didn't you? You left a lot of paint on the walls today. Were you struggling for grip or did you just misjudge some corn? Appreciate your time.
Just wanted to say congrats on the podium. It's thoroughly deserved. We were sweating those last few laps on the pit wall, but you brought it home.
They aren't coming round to that proposal. Let's try something else. All right, the terms have been agreed. All that's left is to sign the paperwork. You'll be on this new deal from the next race weekend.